will be much contention at his coming and at his approach. And in those days there will be many who will love office, although lacking wisdom. And there will be many wicked elders and shepherds who wrong their sheep. And they will be rapacious because they do not have holy shepherds. And many will exchange the glory of the robes of the saints for the robes of those who love money. And there will be much respect of persons in those days, and lovers of glory of the world. And there will be many slanderers and much vainglory at the approach of the Lord. And the Holy Spirit will withdraw from many, and in those days will not be many prophets, nor those who speak reliable words, except one here and there in different places, because of the spirit of error and fornication, and vainglory and the love of money. And there will be among those who are said to be servants of that one, and among those who receive that one. And among the shepherds and the elders there will be great hatred toward one another, for there will be great jealousy in the last days. For everyone will speak whatever pleases him in his own eyes, and they will make ineffective the prophecy of the prophets who were before me. And my visions also they will make ineffective, in order that they may speak what burst out of their heart.
Okay, well, Bati Walam, 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 my people. Shalom and Shalom. The brothers from Zion, we are back here to complete the teaching of the Medes who are bringing the children of Israel, and also the Draconians. So now we went and talked about the Medes bringing our people back. And so we're going to go a little bit more, what is Draconians in that event that takes place, which is talking about Jacob's trouble. What really is Jacob's trouble? So we're going to get into what is Draconians. We're going to find out the word draconian, or the word dragon is draconian in our scriptures. And I hope that some of you done a research on Draconians. We're talking about shapeshifters and everything. Yes, this is in the scriptures, and we will touch on that. Paul spoke of them, and so many, a lot of our people, when you read this, you have to remember that these prophets, they were literally talking about some of these events. What they meant is what they meant. And some things they talked in parables. So we just have to understand how to decipher the parables from what they were speaking about. And reality. A little bit, we're going to show the 10 tribes and how they're coming from the east, and we're going to do that. Remember, the 10 tribes are coming from the east of Jerusalem. Now we know that there are some other 10 tribes spread amongst Africa and other parts of the world, but we're going to focus on the 10 tribes that the scripture is talking about. That's going to come from the east with the Medes, with the Afghanistan. We're talking about Bani Israel.
Sibling Oracles, Book 2, verse 165. The gathering together is near when some deceivers in place of prophets approach.
So now we have a lot of men out there who consider themselves prophets and deceiving with Torah and with the scriptures. Go ahead, read.
Speaking on earth. Belair also will come and will do many signs for men.
So Belair is talking about the anti-Mashiach. Go ahead.
Then indeed there will be confusion of holy, chosen, and faithful men.
So the children of Israel, will be many of our people that will be deceived. Many of our people will be deceived, and they are right now. Keep going, read.
And there will be a plundering of these and of the Hebrews.
Read.
A terrible wrath will come upon them when a people of 10 tribes will come from the east.
So remember, we talked about the destruction of our people, and at the same time you had Bani Israel coming from the east, along with the Medes, the Afghanistan, or what they call the heart of Khorasan. Okay, that's what the Arabs call it. And they're going to come rushing like a straight line, also with the angels. So he's kind of recapping. So now when he's reading this, you can understand. And remember, they're going to come and they're going to join others in Jerusalem who were already there. It's a portion of the southern kingdom in Jerusalem already. And I would take a portion of some of the northern kingdom as well. But go ahead.
A terrible wrath will come upon them when a people of the 10 tribes will come from the east to seek the people.
Read.
Which the shoot of Assyria destroyed.
So the shoot of Assyria, what I mean, the shoot of Assyria destroyed, meaning that spirit, the anti-Mashiach. Also remember that the Euphrates River is dried up, so they're coming and they're crossing over the Euphrates rivers. And remember also the 4 angels that was there, bound, they have been released. They have, each angel went into a country. Turkey, Syria, Iraq, and Iran.
Of their fellow Hebrews, nations will perish after these things.
So nations is going to perish. Why? Because remember, the nation is going to come up against the master. Keep going.
Later, the faithful chosen Hebrews will rule over exceedingly mighty men. So
now, we just want to give a recap and show what would take place. And after that, our people gathered, we would begin our 1,000-year rulership with the king of David. We'll have our kingdom from the Euphrates all the way down throughout the Nile River. Okay, so let's continue on. Now we're going to go back and we're going to pick up at 2nd Ezra and 34. Now, keep in mind that we talked about in the last teaching that the eating of our people from these beings. We even touched on that how the Assyrians will be destroyed, not by a human, by the sword, not by the sword of a human. Okay, so if it's not a human, then it has to be something non-human. According to the scriptures, according to the Hebrew, it's non-human that's going to be doing this. So you have to remember that the angels are coming with Bani Israel and they're coming with the Medes. Okay? So we're going to pick up at 2nd Ezra chapter 34. And remember in the book of Enoch, we talked about them coming on clouds from the east and from the north and from the west. And they came with a loud noise, and it was a terrible. And that, for those who want to remember, it was the book of Enoch, chapter 56. And you can read down, I think it was chapter 5 and down. Go ahead.
2nd Ezra 15, verse 34. Behold, clouds from the east and from the north unto the south, and they are very horrible to look upon, full of wrath and storm. So
now a lot of people, I'm going to show that these are beings. These are not jets. These are actually beings. I'm going to show and prove that on this day, the earth is going to be darkened. I'm going to show you how it's going to be darkened. We're going to show and we're going to prove that majority of the earth will be covered with fire and most definitely water. Waves will come and destroy shores. Even in all the way up in Jerusalem, modern day Jerusalem, Ascalon, all those places on the coast of Israel will be destroyed. They will be underwater. Okay? All throughout the Americas will be underwater. A lot of these places will be underwater. And this is why many people are having these visions of tsunamis. Okay? Because it's the Most High giving you a dream, giving you a vision to understand what's to come. So it's time to seek the Most High face. So in this teaching, we're going to show all of that. We're also going to show how the pit is opened up and these beings coming out of the pit and some coming out of the heavens. Okay? So we're going to prove all of this in this breakdown. And Draconians are actually shape-shifting beings that do exist, and our forefathers knew this. This wasn't nothing new to them. It's new to us because we're like caught up in this, we're caught up in this unreality and think everything is sci-fi on television, but it's real. All right, so we're going to go and continue reading 2nd Ezra 15 and chapter 35. Verse 35, I'm sorry. Now what we're going to do, we're going to show you the connection. Most people say that this is missiles. They say, oh, missiles going to be shooting and crossing. This is what Jacob's trouble is, missiles. Right? And I'm going to prove that, not saying missiles not going to happen, but I'm going to prove that this is not what that's talking about. This is talking about angels. As we read, remember we read in the book of Enoch, right? Their right arm was against themselves. Their right arm was strong against themselves. So it's the same thing. What we've been reading so far in 2nd Ezra is the same thing we've been reading throughout the book of Enoch, the book of Jubilees, and everything. It's the same thing. All the prophets talked about the same event, but they just said it in their own way, in different metaphors. But it's all the same thing. Go ahead, read.
2nd Ezra 15 and 35.
Let's prove that this is talking about angels. Read.
They shall smite one upon another, and they shall smite down a great multitude of stars upon the earth, even their own stars.
So, right there, a lot of brothers be like, yeah, see, this is talking about missiles. But it's not talking about missiles. Go ahead, read.
And blood shall be from the sword upon the belly.
All right, so let's prove that these stars are not missiles. Now, we already got our proof already in the book of Enoch, chapter 56, because it's talking about the same event. But let's just get more from our records and show that these are angels. Because remember, we're reading another person's translation. So we have to understand the dialogue of what they're talking about. So we're going to go to Pseudo-Philo, which is in the Pseudepigrapher, chapter 31, and we're going to start on verse 1. We're not going to read the whole thing, but we're going to get the meat of it to get the understanding what this is talking about. And the Most High has always moved these angels for the children of Israel. Even when we came into the land, right? He has always moved the angels on our behalf. So let's get that. Go ahead, read.
Pseudo-Philo, chapter 31, verse 1. And Deborah sent and summoned Barak.
So this is talking about Deborah, right? Or Deborah, right? And the event when she became a general, or some may say a judge in the army of Israel, or in Israel. Read.
And she said to him, Rise and gird your loins like a man, and go down and attack Sisera.
Remember, she had to command the guys to be men. They were kind of scary, at that time. We were kind of weak. Go ahead, read.
Because I see the stars move from their course and ready for battle on your side.
Wait a minute, read that again.
Because I see the stars move from their course and ready for battle on your side.
So what you see in the heavens, those are actually angels. Go ahead, read.
And I see the lightning that cannot be moved from its course going forth to hinder the works of the chariots of those who glory in the might of Sisera.
So hold on. So again, remember we read in the book of Enoch that it says, and I saw chariots and they were riding on the wind. Here we go. She referred these stars to chariots. Now we know they're talking about a heavenly luminary because she's mentioned that. Keep going, read.
Who is saying, I am going down to attack Israel with my mighty arm.
Read.
And I will divide their spoil among my servants. And I will take for myself beautiful women as concubines. And on account of this, the Lord said about him, the arm of the weak women would attack him, and maidens would take his spoil, and even he would fall into the hands of a woman.
Yeah, so this is talking about us that our men were so weak, they were afraid. But keep going, read.
And when Deborah and the people of Barak went down to meet the enemies, immediately the Lord disturbed the movement of his stars.
Of his what?
Of his stars.
So he disturbed the movement of his stars. Read.
And he said to them, Hurry and go.
Wait a minute, he said to them meaning the stars, the angels. Read.
Hurry and go, for your enemies fall upon you, and confound their arm and crush the power of their heart, because I have come that my people may prevail.
Read.
For even if my people have sinned, nevertheless I will have mercy on them, And when these words had been said, the stars went forth and had been commanded them, as had been commanded them, and burned up their enemies.
See that? So if what we're reading is that the Most High made a command to the angels or the stars to move on the behalf of Israel. Keep reading.
And the number of those gathered together in 1 hour and slain 90 times, 97,000 men.
So the angels went and killed 90 times 90 something thousand men.
97,000 men.
Keep going, read.
But they did not destroy Sisera.
So hold on. So the angels, they didn't totally destroy Sisera. Keep going, read.
Because so it had been commanded them.
Alright, so as we just read, that the angels were given a command to destroy, but they were called stars. They were called stars in here. This is a translation, right? We're reading someone else's translation, but we have to understand the dialogue of what they're trying to say. So now we're going to go back to 2nd Ezra, and we're going to read that again, and I'm going to prove that this is angels. Same thing. Go ahead.
2nd Ezra 15:34. Behold the clouds from the east and from the north unto the south, and they are very horrible to look upon, full of wrath and storm.
Read.
They shall smite one upon another, and they shall smite down a great multitude of stars upon the earth.
Read.
Even their own stars.
See that? So these are angels against each other. Read.
And blood shall be from the sword unto the belly.
Read.
And the dung of men unto the camel's hoof.
Alright, so as we read in the book of Enoch, it said there would be piles of men piled up, right? Now we're reading the same thing. It would be dungs of men unto the camel hump. You know what a camel hump is? That's the hump. So bodies should be piled up that high. Remember we read there would be bodies lying in the streets. No one to bury them. All the books are talking about the same event. The same event. Keep going.
Verse 37. And there shall be great fearfulness and trembling upon earth. And they that see the wrath shall be afraid, and trembling shall come upon them.
Now remember we talked about how the earth was going to be darkened. On the approachment of the Most High, on the Mashiach, the earth will be darkened. But how did it get darkened? We're going to read it. Read.
And then shall there come a great storms from the south and from the north, and another part from the west.
There's those angels again. Read.
And strong winds shall arise from the east, and shall open it.
Should do what?
And shall open it.
So what is it talking about? It should open it. It's talking about the abyss. It's talking about the pit. And we're gonna prove that. Read.
And the cloud which he raised up in wrath, and the stars stirred to cause fear toward the east and west. Toward the east and west wind shall be destroyed.
So now we see another star destroying each other. But the key is it opened. So let's go back and look at that. Let's prove it. Let's go to Revelation 9, verse 1. Same thing. And we're going to prove it. Add all the scriptures, and I keep repeating this because you must comprehend this. Now you're going to have people say, no. But all the prophets wrote about the same event, the same thing.
Revelation 9 and 1.
Read.
And the fifth angel sounded.
Now what?
The fifth angel sounded.
Keep going, read.
And I saw a star fall from heaven unto the earth.
Come on.
And to him was given the key of the bottomless pit.
So now we just read about the same angel. Keep going, read.
Verse 2. And he opened the bottomless pit.
He did what?
He opened the bottomless pit.
So we just read that strong winds shall arise from the east and shall open it. And it is the pit. Same thing. Keep going, read.
And there arose a smoke out of the pit.
Now here it says smoke out of the pit, right? But in 2nd Ezra it says, in the cloud which he raised up in wrath, they came out of the pit. Same thing.
Revelation 9 verse 3. And there came out of the smoke locusts upon the earth.
So now, the reason I went back to Revelation 9 and 3, I'm going to show some of these beings, some of these Draconians. I'm going to show you what they look like, okay, according to the scriptures. All right, come on, read.
And unto them was given power, as a scorpion of the earth have power. And it was commanded them that they should not hurt the grass of the earth, neither any green thing, neither any tree, but only those men which have not the seal of the Most High in their foreheads. And to them it was given that they should not kill them, but that they should be tormented 5 months, and their torment was as the torment of a scorpion, when he striketh a man. In those days shall men seek death, and shall not find it, and shall desire to die, and death shall flee from them.
Meaning that these men are going to wish that they died, but the reason they're not going to die is because the Most High is going to watch. Because they have to see what's going to be done to them. They have to see the destruction around them. They have to see their children die. I'm going to prove it. Keep going, read.
Verse 7. And the shapes of the locusts were like unto horses prepared unto battle.
Now remember, these beings are not they're not human at all. They're not human. I'm showing that these Draconians, I'm showing that they came, we've been reading that they've been coming from in the earth. We've been reading that they've been coming from the heavens. And I'm going to prove it more. Keep going, read.
And on their heads were as it were crowns like gold, and their faces were as the faces of men. And they had hair as the hair of women, and their teeth were as the teeth of lions.
All right. To show you that all these books are correlating with each other. And that our prophets, they written more than one book. They didn't just write one book. They were writers. And they were given oracles or prophecies from the Most High. So we're going to go to the Sibylline Oracles, Book 3, and chapter 805, or line 805.
Sibylline Oracles 805. You will see a battle of infantry and cavalry in the clouds, like a hunt of wild beasts, like a mist. This is the end of war which the Most High, who inhabits heaven, is accomplishing. But all must sacrifice to the great King.
So all have to come and submit. Let's go to Apocalypse of Daniel, chapter 12 and 1.
Apocalypse of Daniel, chapter 12, verse 1. And then the unclean spirits and the demons will go forth like the sand of the sea. Those in the abyss. So we read about those in the abyss that came out of the pit, where the smoke came out. Read. And those in the crags and ravines.
Read.
And they will adhere to the Antichrist. And they also will be tempting the Christians and killing the babies of the women.
Read.
And they themselves will suckle from them. And then the people will be calling upon death and digging up the tombs and saying, Blessed and thrice blessed are you who have already died, because you did not reach these days.
So they're saying that out of ignorance. But let's continue. Let's go on to Apocalypse of Zephaniah chapter 4 and 1.
Verse 1. Then I walked with the angel of the Lord. I looked before me, and I saw a place there, thousands of thousands, and a myriad of myriads of angels entered through it.
So entered through it. It is that portal that when it opened it. Come on, read.
Their faces were like a leopard, their tusks being outside their mouth like the wild boars.
So in Revelation 9 it described them. They had hair like women. You mean they had these faces of locusts or whatever. But then you remember these beings came from the pit when it opened. The angel came and descended and opened the pit, or it said it called it a star. Right? It's the same thing. Keep on reading.
Their eyes were mixed with blood. Their hair was loose like the hair of women.
So you ever seen what is that? What's that? The not aliens, but aliens against Predator. They're showing this. I mean, these people know exactly what they're doing in the movies. Same thing. Come on, read.
Their eyes were mixed with blood. Their hair was loose like the hair of women, and fiery scourges were in their hand. When I saw them, I was afraid.
All right, so that's cool. So I just wanted to show you that these beings are going to be on the earth. You can't tell the difference between the smoke and the cloud. They're both thick and white. So, but I'm going to show you how the earth became darkened. Keep going, read.
As the smoke of a great furnace.
Read.
And the sun and the air were darkened.
Ah, there we go. It would darken. This is how the earth became dark. Keep going, read.
By reason of the smoke of the pit.
Because of the smoke of the pit. Same thing we read in in Micah 3, it talked about how the earth was dark on the prophets. Same thing. Keep going, read.
And there came out of the smoke locusts upon the earth.
Uh-oh, so now we're going to get into that locust. But we're going to talk about them in a minute. I just want to show you something. Keep going, read.
And upon them was given power as the scorpions of the earth have power.
Read.
And it was commanded them that they should not hurt the grass of the earth, neither any green thing, neither any tree.
Read.
But only those men which have not the seal of the Most High in their forehead.
Right, so that's what we're going to stop at. We're going to go back. Now, the key, I wanted to show that they were not to hurt the men who were sealed of the Most High, is because what did those men do to get the seal? And we read it. It said that they kept the feast of the Most High. They kept the feast of the Most High. Get that.
2 Ezra 2:38.
Read.
Arise up and stand. Behold the number of those that be sealed in the feast of the Lord, which are departed from the shadow of the world and have received glorious garments of the Lord. Take thy number, O Zion, and shut up those of thine that are clothed in white, which have fulfilled the law of the Lord.
So remember, we showed that last week. How do you do that? With the half a shekel and everything. Coming to Zion and keeping the feast, or Jerusalem, which is in Zion, the city of David, and keeping the feast as it is written. Okay, we showed that. All right, let's go back to 2 Ezra.
One more.
Go ahead, read the last one.
The number of thy children, whom thou longest for, is fulfilled. Beseech the power of the Lord, that thy people, which have been called from the beginning, may be hallowed. So
we said you only need to come there. I mean, the Most High looking at the hearts of man. He just said, if you're only able to make it there once to get your number, to get sealed, then come. But you got many of our brothers saying you don't have to come. These are those wicked shepherds, those wicked pastors. So if you call yourself an elder, you're still considered a wicked pastor. If you say you're a deacon and you're leading and whatever, you're still considered a wicked pastor.
Right, because you're denying the people to seek Zion to get sealed. You can't get sealed, you can't be numbered unless you seek Zion.
Right. So this is Jacob's trouble here. And it ain't got nothing to do with no missiles. It got something to do with the fallen ones returning to earth. That's very clear. You can see this now. Let's go back up to where we picked it at. 30.
I think it's like 40, but 38, I guess.
Okay, start at verse 40.
2 Ezra 15:40. The great and mighty cloud shall be lifted up full of wrath, and the star,
Meaning the star are what? Angels. Come on.
that they may make all the earth afraid, and them that dwell therein. And they shall pour out over every high and eminent place a horrible star.
So now, we know this is at this point. This is talking about, you ever see Independence Day, and you have all those UFOs over cities? That's what this is. This is talking about fallen ones, or however you want to call them. They all take an order from the Most High anyway. They all are His. But they're talking about these beings all over every city. Every city. This is what this is talking about. Go ahead.
Verse 41. Fire and hail and flying swords.
Wait a minute now. Now, we're going to show every last one of this. Fire, hail, and flying swords. I'm going to show you this. Keep going, read.
And many waters.
And many what?
And many waters.
Go ahead.
That all fields may be full.
All what?
That all fields may be full.
So this is talking about swords, flying hail. We'll show all of this. And it's talking about how do a field may be full of water. It has to be because there's a flood. Some kind of tsunami, maybe. Huh? Let's take a look at this really deep. Read that verse again.
Verse 41. Fire and hail and flying swords and many waters, that all fields may be full and all rivers.
So all fields, meaning that's in land, may be full and all rivers, read.
With the abundance of great waters.
Wow. So let's prove that. That's all in the scriptures. All right. So now we want to go to, let's go to Amos.
Amos chapter 5 verse 4. For thus saith the Lord unto the house of Israel, seek ye me, and ye shall live.
So the Moses says, seek me. And when he says, seek me, and you shall live, that means seek Zion. Go ahead, read.
But seek not Bethel.
Bethel is called modern day Jerusalem. Don't go there. That's where you got a lot of brothers going to. Seek me, not seek Bethel. Go ahead, read.
Nor enter into Gilgal.
Don't go into Gilgal. Don't go there. Keep going, read.
And pass not to Beersheba.
Don't even go to Beersheba, which is south of in the Negev, which is south of Jerusalem. Right? Keep going.
For Gilgal shall surely go into captivity.
Come on.
And Bethel shall come to naught.
So wait a minute. You should know how is going into captivity. It's the army that's coming to the east, coming from the east, that's going to bring it into captivity. That's modern day Jerusalem. Keep going, read.
Verse 6. Seek the Lord, and ye shall live.
Seek the Master in Zion, and you will live. Read.
Lest he break out like fire.
Come on.
In the house of Joseph, and devour it.
See that? So now that's proven that Bethel is the lot of Joseph. Ephraim. See that? That's clear, right? Come on, read.
Seek the Lord, and ye shall live.
Seek the Most High in Zion.
Lest he break out like fire in the house of Joseph.
Come on.
And devour it. And there be none to quench it in Bethel.
Read.
Ye who turn judgment to wormwood.
Now we're going to go and show what is wormwood. Read. He said, you turn judgment into wormwood. Read.
And leave off righteousness in the earth.
See that? So we're going to show you that wormwood is actually going to be thrown from an angel. Okay, keep going, read.
Seeketh him that maketh the 7 stars and Orion, and turneth the shadow of death into the morning. So
now Orion is a star system. These where these angels are coming from. They're coming from the Orion star system. And the Most High is going to use Draconians. He's going to use all his angels. He's going to use the ones on earth. He's letting it go. This is Jacob's trouble. Read.
And maketh the day dark with night.
See that? Then now he said, maketh the day dark with the night. We read that the pit was open and the cloud arose and it became dark. Same thing. Keep going, read.
That calleth for the waters of the sea and powereth them.
And poured them. Calleth from the waters of the sea and poured them. Come on.
And poureth them out upon the face of the earth.
Whoa. So the Most High, he's going to destroy a lot of the shores with water again. This is what your dreams are about. Your visions are about. And this is not only going to happen in Israel. This is going to happen across the world.
2nd Ezra 16, verse 9. And fire shall go forth from his wrath, and who is he that may quench it? He shall cast lightnings, and who shall not fear?
Come on.
He shall thunder, and who shall not be afraid? The Lord shall threaten, and who shall not be utterly beaten to powder at his presence.
So now we're reading exactly the same thing. Well, watch. Keep on reading.
12. The earth quaketh, and the foundations thereof. The sea ariseth up with waves.
You'll see what?
The sea ariseth up with waves.
The sea rises up with waves. We just read the same thing. Read.
From the deep, and the waves of it are troubled.
Come on.
And the fishes thereof also before the Lord, and before the glory of his power.
All right, I just want to show you that. We're just going to show this waters destroying land shores. Okay? Let's get some more. Let's go to Ezekiel 26. Ezekiel 26, start at verse 18.
Ezekiel 26 and 18. Now shall the isles tremble in the day of thy fall.
So now the isles mean the islands. Come on, read.
Yea, the isles that are in the sea shall be troubled at the departure.
Well, so what is
thy departure?
So why are they being troubled? Because the waters. So all you brothers and sisters that are all in the Caribbean who've been having these dreams, this is why you're having them. Because the earth will be destroyed, or the islands will be destroyed by water. Not totally, but a lot of our people amongst these islands are going to be killed. I mean, you know, just think about what we're doing in there. From Jamaica all the way down to Central America, you know, or Trinidad. The carnivals, half-nakeds. Come on, read.
Now shall the isles tremble at the day of thy fall.
Read.
Yea, the isles that are in the sea shall be troubled at thy departure.
Come on.
For thus saith the Lord God, when I shall make thee a desolate city, like the cities that are not inhabited, when I shall bring up the deep upon thee.
So now, this is specifically is referring to Babylon, because there's going to be a asteroid that hits right in the Red Sea. It's going to hit right in the Red Sea, and it's going to destroy Babylon. And we're going to get that scripture too. Stop at verse 21.
And great waters shall cover thee.
And great what?
And great waters shall cover thee.
Great waters shall cover thee. Right? Go ahead.
When I shall bring thee down with them that descend into the pit, with the people of old time.
So now this is talking about the city that's going to be destroyed, and also that people, and also that ruler who's going to be ruling there. Alright? Alright, so now we're going to go Revelation 8 and 10. We're going to get a little bit more about the waters, the hail, and the fire. Okay? So we've seen that the waters are destroying the coast. But let's talk about the hail and some of the other things that are spoken about in 2nd Ezra. Remember, the prophets are all talking about the same thing. So now we have, when we're reading Revelation, John is actually quoting Ezra. He's quoting Ezra. It's nothing new that John is saying. He's quoting Ezra. It's all fine. It's all the same thing. Go ahead, read.
Revelation 8 and verse 10. And the third angel sounded, and there fell a great star from heaven, burning as it were a lamp. And it fell upon the third part of the rivers, and upon the fountains of waters.
See that? So now they're showing that star falling in the third part of the waters. Keep going, read.
And the name of the star is called Wormwood.
Remember, we read that in Amos. Wormwood. And we understand that it was an angel from Orion, that system, that actually, an angel from there that hurled this. It's all talking about the same thing. I have to repeat that, because I have to drive it in your head. This is nothing new that the prophets are talking about. A prophet cannot come on with his own prophecy unless it wasn't from the Most High. It had to be from the true prophets, from Moshe and everyone else, or even Enoch before, prior to Moshe. Keep going.
And a third part of the waters became wormwood.
Third part of the waters mean wormwood. It became, so when you understand this, there's only going to be one fresh water in the world, and that's going to be coming from Jerusalem. When Wormwood hit, Hezekiah's tunic is going to open up. And that's when you're going to have the waters. When that earthquake happened, the tunic is going to open up. And water is going to go from to the east to the Salt Sea and to the west to the Mediterranean. But the one in the Salt Sea is going to freshen. That's going to be for those who are in the valley of Achor and the children of Israel. That's going to be refreshing. This is what they're going to drink from. Keep going.
And many men died of the waters because they were made bitter.
Meaning that they cannot drink the water in the earth. You will not be able to drink the water in the earth. The only water is going to be coming from Jerusalem. And right now, if you go anywhere, anywhere from Israel, tell you that live in the Negev, even as far as Dimona, the freshest water in all of Israel is coming from Arad. Quote me and Acts 81. The freshest water in Israel is coming from Arad. Tel Arad. The water that's supplying Arad is coming from Tel Arad. Keep going, read.
Verse 12. And the fourth angel sounded.
That's cool. But keep going.
Yeah. And the third part of the sun was smitten, and the third part of the moon, and the third part of the stars, so as the third part of them was darkened.
Now, how do we know what happened? Remember, because the earth had opened up. So it's showing us the earth had opened up and made the whole earth dark. And also now you're seeing this also is contributing to the earth being darkened. Read.
And the day shone not for a third part of it, and the night likewise.
See that? So the day was darkened. The same thing. I think we got 3 witnesses from 3 different prophets that said the same thing. All speaking on the same thing. Alright? Now, let's find out about the angel from Orion. Let's get a little bit more on him. Okay? Let's go to, now we know where they're coming from. Orion, the Pleiades star system. And we're gonna touch on that too for a second. Revelation 18 and 21.
Revelations 18, verse 21. And a mighty angel took up a stone like a great millstone, and cast it into the sea, saying, Thus with violence shall the great city Babylon be thrown down, and shall be found no more at all.
So he cast it into the sea and destroyed Babylon, which is a city. We're going to look into that. Let's go back and read a little bit.
2 Ezra 15, verse 12. Egypt shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten with the plague and punishment that God shall bring upon it.
So remember we was talking about some of those plagues in the first one, right? The Assyrian, and also that army that's coming from the east. Keep going, read.
They that till the ground shall mourn, for their seeds shall fail through the blasting of hail and hail.
See that? From the blasting and hail. Same event. Read.
And with a fearful constellation.
Fearful what?
Constellation.
So what is constellation? Does that deal with the heavens? So we're seeing the same event. All these prophets are speaking on the same thing. On the fearful constellation. Read.
Woe to the world and them that dwell therein.
See that? Come on.
For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh.
I mean, it's coming near. Read.
And one people shall stand up to fight against another, and a sword in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their action shall stand in their power.
All right, that's cool. All right, so now, one more. Let's go to Revelation, think 16 and 19. To show some more of that constellation here.
Revelation 16 and 19.
Read.
And the great city was divided into 3 parts.
Now, remember when that star says it fell in the sea, right? The angel took the stone and hurled it into the sea. And in Babylon, that city was destroyed, right? You read that in Revelation 18. Now, we're going to Revelation 16 and 19. So now it's going to cause me just to touch bases a little bit. And we'll get into that new teaching next week. Go ahead, read.
And the great city was divided into 3 parts, and the cities of the nations fell.
Come on.
And great Babylon came in remembrance before the Most High, to give unto her the cup of the wine of the fierceness of his wrath. And every island fled away.
And every what?
And every island fled away.
Read.
And the mountains were not found. And there fell upon men a great hail out of heaven.
See that? That's the constellation we just read. This is the hail that we just read in 2nd Ezra. Keep going, read.
And every stone about the weight of a talent. And men blasphemed the Most High because of the plague of the hail.
So the man still didn't repent. They still blasphemed the Most High. Come on, read.
For the plague thereof was exceeding great.
All right, beautiful.
2nd Ezra 15:41. Fire and hail and flying swords.
So there it is right there. Come on.
And many waters, that all fields may be full, and all rivers with the abundance of great waters. And they shall break down the cities and walls, mountains and hills, trees of the wood, and grass and meadows, and their corn. And they shall go steadfastly unto Babylon, and make her afraid.
So this is talking about the same thing. This is talking about the same thing. Keep going, read.
Verse 44. They shall come to her and besiege her. The star and all wrath shall they pour out upon her.
See that? The star. Read. Remember what the stars are, read.
Then shall the dust and smoke go up unto the heaven, and all they that be about her shall bewail her.
Come on.
And they that remain under her shall do service unto them that have put her in fear.
Read.
And thou, Asia.
Asia means, it's not talking about China like these brothers are talking about. This is talking about Turkey. This is talking about Turkey, Asia Minor Turkey, where Satan's seat is. Come on, read.
And thou, Asia, that art partaker of the hope of Babylon.
So now when you get into Turkey and the hope of Babylon, see, now we're talking about, if I'm showing that Babylon is in Arabia, that city, if you look and you see Turkey and Arabia are allies. They're friends. And they just formed the biggest, what we were speaking about last week, the biggest, what am I looking for? Coalition in the world. Them two places. Keep on reading.
And art the glory of her person. Woe be unto thee, thou wretch, because thou hast made thyself like unto her, and hast decked thy daughters in whoredom, that they might please and glory in thy lovers, which have always desired to commit whoredom with thee.
Now, we really couldn't get too much in detail. We just want to show you what is coming, that we're not prepared for it. None of us. Only thing that's going to be prepared for this is keeping the feast in Zion. Being sealed.
So then prepare you.
That's the only thing going to prepare your families. Protection for your families. Protection for your friends. Those men who come to Zion and are sealed, their prayers will be answered by the Most High.
And they'll be in safety.
And they'll be in safety. So we just want to give you a synopsis of the Draconians. Do your research on it. And we just like to say, Wabati Walam, and we hope you have a good and pleasant Shabbat.
Shalom.
Seek Zion.
Seek Zion.
Seek Zion, always. Get sealed.